Hello, everybody. If you landed here, you landed on Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro. I'm fighting a little cold, so I hope I don't want to say the word cough because then it makes me cough. I'm sorry. I hope I don't ring your ears with my coughing, but the show must go on and we have a lot of things to talk about. I can't remember all of them, but we have a lot of things to talk about. It's just crazy what's going on out there, especially with the Seditious Six, the gaslighting that is happening. It's remarkable to me. I looked it up and I'll share the screen and we'll look together. We're going to do a lot of screen sharing tonight. But let's just make sure that we understand what gaslighting is. And here it is. Gaslighting is the behavior of someone who insinuates something, but then denies saying it. It is a key tactic in gaslighting. While the act of denial itself is a common psychological defense mechanism when it is part of a pattern of manipulation to make another person doubt their own perception or sanity. In other words, don't pay attention to your eyes. We're going to tell you what to think. It falls under the umbrella of gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation and emotional abuse in which the perpetrator seeks to sow seeds of doubt in a targeted individual or group, making them question their own memory, perception, or sanity. The denial of having made an insinuation is a specific technique used to achieve this control. Key aspects include denial of facts, countering, trivializing, and a pattern of behavior. You guys can look this up yourself, but that is what gaslighting is. And that's what the Dems are doing. The Seditious Six are absolutely gaslighting everybody. They made a video. That video went viral. And now suddenly they're saying, oh, we didn't say anything. We were just trying to let the military know that they don't have to follow illegal orders. But then when Trump said sedition is punishable by death, they all gaslit everybody again. Oh, well, he was talking about us. Well, why would you assume that? You weren't doing anything wrong. Why were you? If you believe you didn't do anything wrong, why then did you assume that when he put up that statement, sedition is punishable by death, why did you believe that he was talking about you? Right? Common sense, right? But gaslighting comes into play. Hello, Mama. Good to have you with us. Thank you. Hello, Kevin Young. Good to have you. And Francine is with us. And Tammy, good to see you. And Angela Ricca is with us today. I got some inboxes. Howard Zim is not going to be able to join us today. Hopefully he will Tuesday. We have, of course, Thanksgiving is Thursday, so we're not going to do a show on Thursday because I'm going to have a house full of people. But who knows? Maybe in the middle of the night. I don't see anything big happening. I think Trump will go somewhere and be with the troops. So I don't see any real news happening on Thursday. But you never know. Hello. Hey, J.A., good to have you. I remembered to put the post in X. So thank you for joining us. And how are you, Marianne? Good to see you. Your grandchildren are just absolutely remarkable, Marianne. Absolutely remarkable. I'm speaking of Frankie's kids because that's all I really see. But I cannot believe how much your granddaughter reminds me of you. It's beautiful. Well, listen, I appreciate your coming here. Anybody who spends a half an hour listening to me talk, man, oh man, I love you. It's not easy to accomplish. Well, anyway, we're talking about gaslighting, right? So we were talking about gaslighting, and I was giving some examples, and I was just about to show you that two of the Seditious Six were asked specifically, what unlawful orders did Trump give? Now, I think everybody here remembers, I've shown the video several times, that 6 members of Congress made a video basically telling troops that they don't have to follow. Their words were unlawful orders. But before they got to, you don't have to follow unlawful orders, they kind of gave they were pointing in the direction that this administration, our Constitution was under attack by this administration. Hello, Colleen. That's okay. Better late than never. So here, when asked what were the unlawful orders, I want you to hear what Crow and Slotkin had to say. Here you go.
So let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Are they talking about not allowing gunboats to make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not. What
reminding them of their obligation
order from the commander-in-chief that we are asking our military to carry out are you objecting to? This is very, very vague. And it was so vague in this video. I don't think people could figure out what you guys were all talking about, honestly.
Martha, Donald Trump has made a series of very disturbing comments and suggestions that would violate U.S. law and put our military in terrible positions.
Again, we're getting nowhere.
So Donald Trump has made a series of comments and suggestions. Which ones? Which ones? When? To who? When were they ever orders? When? They can't answer them. All they can do is gaslight. That's all they can do. And now they're all clutching their pearls that the president of the United States, who is, by the way, negotiating right now a peace deal, yet another peace deal, but this one now with Ukraine and Russia. Is this the time that you want this to come out? Sure it is. Sure it is. Why? Why did they choose to put that video together now? Because they want the drugs in the country. Listen, we've been fighting the war on drugs for forever. For forever. How many trillions of dollars and how many lost lives in trying to stop drugs from coming into this country have we all seen? I mean, tons. I don't like this jacket. It's not an accident because Trump is showing you now that he can stop these drugs from coming in, right? So who's calling the shots with these people? Why are members of Congress upset that Donald Trump has given orders to stop illegal drugs, namely fentanyl, from coming to this country? Why would that be? Could it be that we have seen it happen in the past, right? Well, we've seen it in Mexico. The cartels are in control of Mexico. We know that to be a fact. Could it be that they have become legitimized here in America? Just like the coyotes running illegal migrants over the border became a legitimate business for them, and Trump shut that down. So who's benefiting and how? Are we getting backdoor money into campaigns? What is happening here? I cannot believe that the American people would think that Trump stopping illegal drugs coming into the country is going to be a problem. So why are they gambling? Why are they putting themselves on the line? And right now, they're investigating Mark Kelly. And they may actually call him back, reactivate his duty so that he could be court-martialed, which is very interesting. And all of those things are legitimate. That can happen. Let's see. Legal gymnastics suggestions are not illegal orders. these people are divisive and have committed sedition. 100% they have committed sedition. But, they seem to get all these useful idiots to do this work for them. And it just blows my mind that they're getting members of the military and the spy and, the CIA. But then again, I guess they should be easy to manipulate, right? Because that's what they do. I don't know. What about when Biden unlawfully fired military personnel for refusing the vaccine? Oh, absolutely. What about when Biden did the Afghanistan withdrawal against all sense, and leaving all the equipment behind? Instead of flying the planes out of the base with people in them, he left them all there. Billions of dollars worth of equipment went to our enemies. How come people didn't say no? And this particular thing, hits me close to home because you remember, a lot of that I got in trouble for my commentary likening Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo to Hitler because they were taking over people's businesses during during COVID. Oh, my brain. And what I was suggesting was that those officers actually not follow an unlawful order, because that order was unlawful. It's keeping people's businesses shut for the greater good when you don't have proof that shutting that business instead of the one across the street. If it was all businesses, then I think it would have held up in court. But the fact that it was, across the street, businesses were open, but these businesses weren't allowed. That to me was a form of fascism. So this whole conversation about what's a lawful order or not and disobeying or not is close to my heart. But there's not one. There's not one unlawful order that any of them can state. Russian World War, Lenin told military or to obey the Tsar. World War I. Yeah. Or rather, he unlawfully demanded they take it. And where are all these people who were on track for seniority and raises and everything else? They were all dishonorably discharged, so they can't even get a pension, I don't think. So are they coming back? Did Trump take them back? I don't know. Have you seen all the foreign actors on X? I haven't, because I haven't really been on X, but I'm not surprised that we're going to see a lot of stuff flood into X, saying Trump's wrong for doing a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, the rest of the globalists do not want this man to remain as president. Typical plan from playbook for communists. It really is. So we just have to remember that these people are not, I mean, they're gaslighting the American people, and we have to keep on talking about the truth. They get kickbacks from drugs and they want to keep us addicted, hopeless, sick, or dead. Yeah. And what happens? The pharmaceutical companies create Narcan and all that. And now everybody has to carry Narcan, all the police officers. And so they sell all that shit. You're exactly on target about the backdoor dollars from foreign entities. It's the only thing that makes sense. To protect power, they need money, and it comes from illegal activity. Absolutely, it does. And who has the most money to, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to sell your illegal drugs in, I don't know, name a poor country, devastatingly poor country. You're not going to get anything for it. But America, the superpower, this all works to the global elitist plan. Remember the 52 former intelligence officers and the Russia bullshit? Absolutely. And it's going on now, right? All of a sudden, all weekend long, they were talking about how this was, and we talked about that yesterday, J.A., that all of a sudden they're trying to make it like Trump is giving the deal to Russia at Ukraine's expense. Bullshit. Hello, Lucille. Let's see. I have that here too. All right, let's share a screen. I'm getting good at this. Hold on a second. Okay. So what to know? President Trump has set a Thursday deadline for Ukraine to agree to the plan, though he signaled talks could continue if progress is made. The early draft called for Ukraine to cede territory, reduce its military, and rule out NATO membership provisions, wildly rejected in Kiev. A joint U.S.-Ukraine statement said meaningful progress was made and an updated and refined peace framework was drafted. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Monday that the U.S. peace proposal for Ukraine could, in principle, serve as the foundation for a final settlement, according to a Kremlin readout of his call with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. I hope I did that right. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said sensitive issues remain on the table, including the release of prisoners of war and the return of abducted children. Finland's President Alexander Stubb warned major issues remain unresolved, while Germany's foreign minister said NATO-related restrictions were removed from the latest draft. The Kremlin said it has not received official details from Geneva and does not plan talks with the U.S. officials this week. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Geneva talks created a solid base for moving forward, stressing Ukraine's sovereignty must be respected. Zelenskyy publicly thanked 13 world leaders on Monday, a pointed show of appreciation that came just one day after U.S. President Donald Trump accused Kiev of offering zero gratitude for American peace officers' efforts, rather. So that it looks like this is going to go through. But, I worry because, that we've had Minsk 1, Minsk 2 agreements between Russia and Ukraine in the past. And Zelenskyy admitted that, what was his name? Poroshenko. I'm bad with names. And I'm going to do a correction for yesterday too, but in a minute. The former Ukrainian president, I think it was Poroshenko or something like that. When they agreed to the Minsk 2 agreement, they were screwing around. They were trying to buy time. They wanted, the prisoners released, and they thought that they could do something more. So I don't know how much I trust Ukraine. I don't know how much I trust Russia. They're from the same cloth. So, it's not our war. But we need them. We need the grain. We need a lot of things. I predict plan to crash and burn. Yeah, Professor, like Minsk, right? Minsk 1, Minsk 2. We got to figure this out. This is crazy. Although I love the fact that Putin is right now depleted of a lot of artillery. Trump is giving Ukraine a chance to survive as their own country. Eventually they will lose. So why lose everything? Makes sense. Cut your losses. Oh yeah. But I don't trust Ukraine. If you look up the Minsk agreements, you'll see, that it was all folly. It never amounted to anything. And neither side was negotiating in good faith. So how do you negotiate with people that really don't want peace? I don't know. Only one who don't want war is POTUS. You're right about that. I don't know. I seem to try to figure out why war is good. I just don't get it. You could say, because, the bomb manufacturers and all that other stuff make a lot of money from it. But, there's other ways to make money. You don't have to make it like that. So why do they use war? They use war for psychological effects, right? To upend economies. We saw that here, right? Just with the shutdown of the government for no fucking reason. None. There was no reason. We're going to talk a little bit about this whole Obamacare shit. There was no reason to shut down the government except for one thing. They wanted the economy shut down. They wanted the flow of traffic shut down. Why? There was an election coming up, and they wanted to make sure that the Republicans didn't gain any ground. They will do anything to make sure that Trump does not succeed. That is treason. I don't like Zelenskyy at all. I believe he is corrupt and he will ultimately lose to Russia. It's time for him to make the deal to end the war. Trump needs to cut the purse strings if he botches this opportunity. You know what, BJ? I agree with everything that you said. I think that Trump is doing what he can, like he did with the Middle East, and continues to do with other countries at war, trying to get things done in another way. I mean, we're coming to a place now where Elon Musk was talking about the fact that maybe we won't need money in the future. And he's probably right. I mean, because when you really think about it, and this blows your mind, why did we decide that gold was the standard? Why? Right? I mean, the old story about how Stuyvesant bought Manhattan Island from the Indian for a bucket of beads, and how he thought that they were so dumb, but he didn't realize that the Indians didn't own Manhattan Island, because the Indians didn't believe that they owned anything, that the land was for everyone and nobody could own land. So when did we decide that gold was the standard? Why was gold the standard? What's to say that something else is not going to take its place? This whole Bitcoin thing is a phenomenon to me. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's not even paper. You can understand stocks and bonds, right? Because it's at least paper. Bitcoins are nothing. They're data. I think their untrue goes back and forth. Yeah. You watch JFK, everything is a rich man's trick. Yeah, well, that's true. We got Alaska from the last time Europe was involved in Crimea War, right? That's the truth. That's the truth. I don't know. I don't know why we think that this makes a lot of good sense, but we're involved. Trump has another idea. He swims upstream on everything. And their goal, the Democrats, is to just keep undermining America and making sure that the American people stay gaslit so that Trump doesn't change things, because they like the system just the way it is, because they figured it out, right? They figured out how to rig it. They figured out how to make things go their way. And Trump is the wild card for them. And how the hell are they going to continue on their merry way if Trump is, puts a wrench in the works? Bitcoin confuses me, but I wish I never sold mine. The whole thing is that a whole bunch of people have decided that it's a thing. I mean, I say the same thing about science sometimes, right? And I don't jump on me about this, but think about it. How do we really know, about stars and this and that and the other thing? Now we're getting up there and we're getting to see. But it was all accepted, right? Like Galileo said that the earth was round, and they excommunicated him from the church because he couldn't get anybody to agree with him. Science is, these hypotheses are developed and a whole bunch of people go, oh, yeah, I could see that happening. And half the time it's people who are stupid, who don't want to look really stupid. So if everybody's going okay, they all jump on board. So trust but verify. That's my motto. I wanted to tell you about something that happened yesterday. I saw it. I played back yesterday's show, and I realized we were talking about Tennessee's 7th congressional district, and I kept referring to that the redistricting included Tennessee. I meant to say Nashville. And I don't know if I didn't watch the whole thing, so I don't know if I ever corrected myself. But just for anybody that watched yesterday that was saying like this girl must have smoked before she came on or drank, forgive me. I was tired, and Nashville is the wild card in this district because it's like a Manhattan for Tennessee. So we need to, we go back to the 7th. We need to win the 7th. And that's what the confusion is now, right? They have to undermine what's happening on December 2nd in the 7th congressional district. Van Epps, everybody's got to go give him $10, give him something. Thank you, Leticia. I agree with you that President Trump is doing all he can to end this war. Zelenskyy is using his European partners to stir the pot. I hope the president walks away if Zelenskyy screws this up this time. I think that, the president will always hope for peace, but he's not going to throw good money after bad. see the Middle East, he sees an opportunity. He sees all that sand and beach, and he's like, wow, condos. We could have another Dubai here. And he has an ally there. He's thinking Ukraine, it doesn't benefit America really, except for the grain. But, why does the Middle East benefit America? Because of the oil and, because of the ability to develop and the ability to make that part of the world into a more Western kind of lifestyle and to spread, I guess, the Western culture. Really, you got to think about that for a minute, because it's really weird, because most of that area is Muslim. And they're trying to undermine, the fundamentalist Muslim, trying to undermine Western culture. So the fact that Trump could get peace this far for this long is really, it's a testament to him. I hope it holds. I think it will. I hope so. But it's about people not starving anymore, right? And people having, a better life. Let's not forget, U.S. was preoccupied with our own civil war at the period in history. When we got Alaska. No, we got Alaska in the 1940s. What civil war are you talking about? Right, it was 1940 something Alaska. I'm not great with numbers, but I'm pretty good. I remember, or maybe it was even, I'm not gonna tell me when we got Alaska. You Professor, make that make sense for me. Gold has been a precious metal since the beginning of time. It's a tangible asset with limited supply. Silver, how do we know it's limited supply? How do we know? Yeah, somebody said so. There could be a whole bunch of gold somewhere else. Silver also, and it has many uses with modern technology. So I understand their value. I don't understand, but what I'm saying is that we are constantly discovering other alloys. Like right now, what is it? Rare earth is the big deal. That's the most important thing. I think it might even, come up there with gold. So what I'm just saying is a bunch of people make these decisions, right? Everybody gets together and decides this is what's going on. That's how you get societies. People decide they're going to follow a law, that they trust the leader makes the law, and we're all going to follow it. And what makes you follow the law? The threat of being excommunicated from society or arrested or thrown in jail or whatever, against society. But that doesn't have to be. This is all in our honor system. Are we the useful idiots for, the global elitists? Are we the useful idiots for, the whole thing? I mean, could we all make the Wild Wild West go off and make our own, sects, SECTS, sex. I don't want to say cults, but our own tribes, and say fuck everybody. We're not going to obey any laws. There are no borders. That seems to be what the Democrats are saying. No more border, or in the global elitists and socialists. No more borders. Unite everything. We'll be the world leader, but really, we're going to give the power to you. We're going to separate it out amongst you, and nobody understands that can't ever happen, because somebody's got to be in control to make sure and police the fact that everybody gets equal, right? So it doesn't make sense. Socialism doesn't make sense. The global elites want fascism. That's what they're looking for. Authoritarianism, fascism. They want a small group of people to control everything. And America keeps getting in the way. And the damn Western civilization, where, human rights are precious and we respect them. Let's turn Gaza into a beautiful resort and keep Hamas out. Well, that's it. Now that they killed the big, the old guys from Hamas, the kids might be liking the idea of getting some, having some beaches where girls with bikinis are, bouncing around. They have a different outlook than their uncles and aunts and fathers and brothers. The kids, the whole generation, what is it now? Not Generation Z, but the one coming up, Alpha. These generations, seem to think the same, because their parents wanted better for them than they had for themselves. And so kids have a different outlook on things, and they're living in technology, whether, they're being, they're not teaching, Hamas and the fundamentalist Muslims don't teach math and science and the things. So they used to be first in that. They were the ones that invented algebra. But when they became totally religious, those areas, they stopped teaching that. They stopped teaching women. So these kids are seeing the opportunity, cell phone freedom, maybe I get, a fast car and live the good life. And maybe, just maybe, they say, you know what? I don't want to fight anymore. Why do I want to die? I don't believe that there are 11 virgins waiting for me if I get killed. I don't want to be a martyr. I can't hold Bitcoin in my hand. Oil is the same. It is a limited resource with many uses. So has real value? I don't know that word. Has real? But you can hold oil in your hand, and you can barter it and you can trade it. It's a commodity. Bitcoin is like an idea. I think 1958. That's what I was thinking. The 40s or the 50s. So we're going to hear. They trained apes to use currency, and the first thing they bartered for was sex. Yes, that's the. That is a true statement, and we know that at the end of the day, that is what most of the male want. I'm not going to say the females, but most of the males. Zelenskyy is a hothead. Don't trust him. I don't trust either him or Putin. I don't trust spies. And the interesting thing is Zelenskyy is an actor, so is Trump, but he's so many other things. Alaska became a state in January 1959. Thank you, Angela Ricca. So what was the Civil War in January 1959, Professor? Are you talking about the race wars, the race riots? I thought Alaska was bought in 1859 and became a state in 1958. Oh. Well, then, if it's 1859, then we would, somewhere in there, a little later in years, we'd be dealing with our own Civil War. Okay, that might be the truth. And that might be, we owned it as, I guess like Puerto Rico. Duh. Okay, like Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. We owned it, but it wasn't a state. Got it. Okay, sorry. Listen, I can't claim to know everything. That's why all of you help to educate me. Leticia, what is your take on the judge who threw out the cases against corrupt James and Comey? Could Pam Bondi have actually allowed a non-qualified prosecutor to handle the grand juries, knowing it was unlawful? Yeah. So listen, we knew going in this was going to be a problem, and I actually have a clip just in case anybody hasn't seen it. Let's just quickly watch this clip. This is about the Comey and James cases. They got thrown out of court today. South Carolina judge went up there to do it. So watch.
What happened here? I don't know which case you want to take first.
Well, they both are being dismissed, and for essentially the same reason that Lindsay Halligan, the Eastern District of Virginia interim U.S. attorney sent there by Donald Trump, not Senate confirmed, that she doesn't have the power. What the judge here has found, this is Judge Cameron Curry from South Carolina. She came into the district, heard arguments from both of the lawyers on these cases against Lindsay Halligan's role. They argued that she didn't have the power because she wasn't Senate confirmed, and thus these indictments are invalid. The judge is agreeing with that. Judge Curry is saying that the Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. And because Ms. Halligan had no lawful authority to present the indictment, James Comey's motion is granted. The indictment is dismissed. Now, the judge does mention that this is without prejudice. So in legal speak, that means that it could be brought back by another prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia if they took it through the grand jury again. But everything Lindsay Halligan did at the end of September, beginning of October, and since then, this judge is saying she couldn't have done that. She didn't have the authority. She was not confirmed by Congress, by the U.S. Senate as the Eastern District of Virginia's U.S. attorney. And thus, the president went out of his bounds, and the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, also overstepped her bounds in sending Lindsay Halligan into this district to get these indictments against both Comey and James.
So here's what I think. I know Trump well enough to know that he prefers to ask forgiveness than permission. And I think that they needed to move. And what he wanted more than anything was to uncover what they had done. Both of them. I think the Comey case, I'm surprised he let her handle the Comey case. I mean, I know the Tish James case, DOJ let out the 32 pages of information about her scamming the insurance companies. And I'm just not sure if he cared if they were prosecuted so much, because the court system is not exactly, it doesn't always favor Republicans. I think that more than anything, he wanted that information out there so that the insurance companies could see that they were being scammed by her and played by her. The same thing with Adam Schiff and the mortgage companies, and let them handle the cases, right? So those documents are now out there. So, I know he's smarter than that, but I think it was already kind of moving forward and they didn't want to let it go. That's what I think. Will it be taken up again? I don't know about her, Tish James. I think that we're going to see the insurance companies and the mortgage companies taking up cases against her. But Comey, I think for definite, they're going to find somebody else to prosecute him. Does it look good for Trump? It's a loss in Trump's column, and it's never good. But at the same time, he racks up lots of losses before he gets the win. Okay, so where are we here? I know we're running late. Even when they had that tent city in Seattle during COVID, can't remember the name, they ended up with a hierarchy and rebellion when people didn't want to share everything they had. That's a good point. That's an absolutely good point. What was the name of that? Oh, I forgot what they called it. Government ownership, socialism is very unacceptable and subdues people's rights. Yes, but they don't understand that. For some reason, the useful idiots think that it's a good idea, and they should try. Seaward's folly. I guess that is what he's talking about with how we got Alaska. Hi, everyone. Hi, Gloria. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Russia needed $7 million to pay its military afterwards when Crimean War was over and done with. Oh, okay. So we bought it from them. Okay, got it. Happy Thanksgiving, Leticia. I hope you and your family have a blessed holiday and celebration. Thank you. I feel the same for you. I just want to go over one other thing before we go. Trump is, we had that government shutdown. Now Trump is proposing this. It was supposed to be over Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, which wasn't affordable. And Trump is proposing these savings accounts, or not savings accounts, get the money directly to the people instead of to the insurance companies. And he's talking about extending the ACA with new caps on it and the money going directly to the people. So that's going to be going through Congress, I think, or it's going to be up for discussion. I think it's very smart on his part, because whenever people hear that they're going to get some money, I think that they feel better, especially if that we're all struggling for under the Biden Bidenomics. So yes, look at the numbers between Alaska, 1859 and 1958. Yeah, you'll see a lot of things. One day I'll actually put it up here. There's a whole thing going around on interesting numbers. I won't try to describe it. I'll find it and I'll show it one day. Alaska is a big, big deal for us. Yeah, it is. It keeps. Well, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish. Russia paid its military in gold coin back then. That's a good little point. I mean, we need Alaska because it brings us, it's like the space of the buffer for the United States between Alaska and then Canada before you can get to the United States. So it's, yeah. Yep. Okay. We know the professor is very, very smart. Chaz. Okay. Who's Chaz? And are they here? I'm not sure. I don't think Trump will be happy about the reason for dismissal. It was a major error on the part of the DOJ. By the way, I love Pam Bondi, but this was a fellip. It was a fellip, but like I said, I'm not sure. There's always they don't mess up. He always looks at everything from all angles. So he was looking to do something else. I'm pretty sure he wanted those documents out. And now that the case was dismissed, he was able to let those documents out on Tish James. That's important. Happy Thanksgiving, Kevin. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Chaz was the 10th city, I think. Was it? I can't remember, but maybe you're right. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We're 10 minutes over. I can't help my fat mouth. I will see you tomorrow evening, and I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about then. Thank you all for being so smart.